What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Mental Fitness Hub podcast. My name is Coach Chris,
I'm G, aka Grant.
and we are here again, y'all. So happy to be back. We're going to get to a few different topics today. But first, I hope that everybody is taking the time to take care of your minds intentionally, of course. And as you all know, the Mental Fitness Hub podcast was created to really touch on the psychological factors that influence performance in sport as well as out of sport as well. We're going to talk a little bit about music today, and how some psychological factors may be impacting that area. But first, let's start off with Kansas State
Yeah.
basketball. We're going to start with the women's basketball team, if you don't mind. It is Sunday. They just got done playing against Colorado, the University of Colorado, the Buffaloes, and they took a L. They had an opportunity to advance to the Sweet 16 to play Caitlin Clark in Iowa, but they fell short after leading in the first half.
Yeah.
It looks like I had some faith in them, but it looks like Ayoka Lee got into a little bit of early foul trouble, and that probably just kind of everything seemed to go downhill from there. How do you feel about that game and a missed opportunity from K State women's basketball team of advancing to the Sweet 16?
I mean, you pretty much said it. Once you limit Ayoka Lee, you limit this team big time. We're talking about Ayoka Lee is elite. It's no question. This woman put up the most points in a single NCAA women's game last year.
Yeah.
With, what was it, 61 points or 62 points?
Yeah.
And
out,
yeah. And I don't know. That might be the male record too. When I think about it, we should have double checked that before, but we'll check on that right now to be sure, because from my memory serving me right, that was the all-time collegiate record for a single game scoring record.
Yeah,
and that alone proved. I mean, there it is, right there.
61 points.
61 points.
Women's single game scoring record.
Against who? Does it say against who? I think it was against the team that wasn't a slouch either, if I remember right. There you go. We're talking about another Big 12 team. A team that's actually going to the SEC after this year. But still, I mean, we're talking about a premier program in themselves. I mean, Oklahoma women's team was no slouch this year either. So
right.
And then Ayoka Lee, she continued it this year. She dealt with an injury. She had the injury bug. I think throughout her career, once in a while, she'd get injured. And this year, it affected them. It affected a great winning streak that they were on middle of the season when she got injured of this year. And that slowed them down. That slowed down the Cats because she is that dominant. She's very dominant down low. She gets rebounds.
Had she 11 rebounds today.
Another double in her name, and what you said, 10 points?
10 points, yeah.
10 points, and that's simply because they limited her, with the foul trouble.
Yes.
Because if she's not, in foul trouble and she's on the floor, she's making a huge impact. And and you mentioned it, like they stuck around in that game for most of it until they had to keep Ayoka Lee off the floor more than they wanted to. And there's some other really solid players that really helped K-State, like Serena Sundell, Gabby Gregory, who, I think she really took it hard now that, the realization that this is her last game, and she lost inside Bramlage Coliseum.
Yeah. She
was last time.
Yeah. You can tell that it hit her hard at the end there as she walked off the floor and was, kind of embracing her coaches and vice versa. You can tell she's going to miss playing in Bramlage Coliseum.
She's
hell of a year for her. Hell of a tenure at K-State for her.
She is the epitome of toughness. Talking about undersized, plays in the paint, power forward. But you never know she's undersized. She fights, she scratches, she claws, and she figures out how to make things happen.
Yeah.
And then Serena Sundell, I think she's still got a couple more years at K-State, at least one. She had some flashes.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I don't know how many turnovers she finished with today, but she had a 4-point play at one time. She had a nifty play right before half where she threw it off the Colorado back and laid it in off of a baseline inbound.
Yeah. And she was pretty efficient from the floor tonight. I would say she was probably out of the starting group their most efficient player. Shooting 4 for 7, 2 for 3 from 3-point range, 11.6 assists. And she racks up those highest. She has those high assist games too. In that first round against Portland, she had 9 assists. 16 points, 9 assists. So yeah, I like what I'm seeing out of her, and I think the future is going to be bright for her.
And the Glenn sisters, they helped a lot too on this team, and I think this was one of the best K-State women's team we've seen in a long time. They beat Iowa once this year and then lost again to them. I was really hoping to see them beat Colorado, if only just to see them meet Iowa for a third time this season in the Sweet 16. Assuming Iowa wins their game today, which I think most people assume that since they were a number 1 seed. K-State went up against a 5 seed Colorado, so it's not like it's some crazy thing that they lost to Colorado.
Right.
Colorado's a solid team.
Yes.
And Iowa's really, really good. Caitlin Clark has taken this whole college basketball season by storm, men's and women's. I think she's the most popular college basketball player in either sport right now when it comes to college basketball. And she's proved that all year long. Yes. And I wanted to see that. Wanted to see a third time.
I wanted to see it too.
K-State
no doubt.
Beat them the first time, lost to them a second time. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the second time was without Ayoka Lee playing the game, and they still played them tough. And that's not even counting them beating Iowa last year. I think that game was at home in Bramlage Coliseum as well. So K-State has Iowa's number.
Hey, yeah. I would have loved to see how a Sweet 16 matchup against Iowa would have turned out, and I would have liked honestly K-State women's basketball's chances. I would have liked that team's chances a lot. Excuse me, especially with Ayoka Lee just being the paint beast that she is, and you mentioned her, two-time All-American. I believe she does have one more year at K-State if she chooses to come back. But what do you think she should do? If you could predict, we don't know, for sure, but do you think that she should, try to go to the WNBA, or do you expect her to come back and do another year at Kansas State?
If she has that one more year of eligibility, then she's got to come back, in my opinion. Why not? Yeah. We're in a day and age where you can make money in college now, maybe even more than
that's true.
When we're talking WNBA salaries, most of their money comes from endorsements, and look at Candace Parker. She's still a WNBA baller. It's still, she's played in it for years, but she's still in the WNBA on one of the best teams, the Las Vegas Aces. And yet you still see her working for Turner Sports, covering college basketball games, she's doing halftime reports for the college basketball because right now they're out of season, and she knows that there's other avenues to make money.
Right.
And that's just the reality of women's sports. Yeah. And women's basketball right now.
Angel Reese, who is a star for LSU women's basketball team. She's been on record saying, why would I go to the WNBA right now? I make more money in college.
And I believe it.
Hey, sad but true. The WNBA definitely has to, and I'm sure some of that is out of the control with the amount of fans, coming to games and things like that. But hopefully they can figure out something to get those women.
Yeah, I agree. WNBA players deserve more, but the reason women's college basketball earns more money than WNBA for those top tier players is because there's more eyeballs in women's college basketball, especially nowadays, than there is WNBA.
Oh, yeah.
And then just colleges in general, the boosters and the companies around those colleges will dole out more money for endorsements even to those college players than, say, a Candace Parker in the WNBA. I mean, but I will say Candace Parker's now made her name known so much through, I think, broadcasting, to the point she's really catapulted herself to probably be one of the highest paid women in the WNBA or women's sports in general.
Yeah.
But she's a hustler. I mean, they know that because what you don't see is an NBA player very often in the off season doing a bunch of broadcasting.
Mm-hmm.
You saw it sometimes with like CJ McCollum. Sometimes he would do it during the season. Once in a while you'd see it, but even then it would be like a short spurt. Mm-hmm. Candace Parker, her whole off season, it seems like, is broadcasting for TNT, TBS, wherever basketball games are being played.
Yeah, I've seen her on there a lot. So I was just wondering. Sometimes I forget that
that's what I'm saying. I forgot that too until
you turn around and see her on the court. The very next week. Hey,
she's a champion. I think a 2-time back-to-back champion with the Las Vegas Aces, which is a loaded team.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. College women's basketball is fun to watch. I mean, it's not as high. It's not high flying like the men's game, but
right.
It is.
These
still,
women are competitive. They care about the craft of the game, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to talk about them today. I know we're specifically highlighting K-State women's basketball team, but women's college basketball right now, is caught in a lot of the public's eye. It's talked about on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. It's trending, and there's some good teams out there. Duke, of course, South Carolina, LSU, Iowa with Caitlin Clark, you name it. And these women are just, competing at the highest level. Definitely noticed, as a mental performance coach, definitely noticing just a lot of, women who possess that internal focus, that mental toughness, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
It's there. These women are hooping, man. And like you said, it's been pretty entertaining.
South Carolina is unreal, by the way.
Yeah.
And they crushed North Carolina today. And very well coached. And then you talk about I forgot her name. I know the first name of her, the USC baller, Juju.
Yes, Juju. Yes,
USC, is it Juju Watson or I need to remember the last name. She's probably the best, besides Caitlin Clark, the best college. And she's just a freshman. The best women's college basketball player right now.
Juju Watkins.
Yep. She knows how to score the basketball. So fluid. I mean, I've watched a few of her highlights. She is fun to watch. I mean, if Caitlin Clark truly does, which I guess Caitlin Clark's declared for the WNBA.
Yeah, she's going to be in Indiana.
I think is interesting because if I was her, I'd come back one more year, really. And you know what? I would take that because I think she has that one more year of eligibility. I would take that and completely shatter the record. She's already shattered. She's already broke the record for the highest scoring women's basketball player of all time.
All-time leading scorer.
I mean, not even women's, in men's too. She passed Pete Maravich this year. And it's incredible what she's done.
You know what? She's also been on record saying that she understands and values that mental side of the game. Mental preparation, visualizing herself out on the court, just doing the little things that all factor in to keeping your mind fresh and understanding how it influences performance. So, man, I'm a Caitlin Clark fan, man, and I'm going to be following her closely, regardless if she does take another year eligibility or go into the WNBA, which I do think that she's leaning more towards. And I think she's going to definitely be a number one draft pick.
And she'll keep great endorsement deals even in the WNBA. I mean, that's just, she's got such an allure to her with, I mean, just the no fear in her game, kind of like Steph Curry, shoot from anywhere on the court kind of mentality.
Yeah.
And, but back to my original point, Juju Watkins is that next Caitlin Clark of just taking over college basketball. I see that with Caitlin Clark. It was, with Juju Watkins, and I think it was kind of Angel Reese too.
Oh yeah, man,
really took it over it too. And it'll be interesting to see if LSU and Iowa meet this tournament in, like, I think they would have to meet in the Elite Eight before the Final Four if they both win enough games to get there.